Well, we have one table open. And when all the tables are full, probably the best way to start the table without the regulars is actually to open a new table, because the regulars are just sitting on the waiting lists. So they are probably not coming to this table. But all the recreational players don't like waiting lists, so let's see how it works. If we can get some friends here. Yeah, like this table on the left, he's a regular. It's strange because sometimes PLO 10 games are really good ones, but it seems that today they are not as overall. So we just, well, I'm going to open tables and we just have to wait and see. If we can find good tables, then we try to keep them. If not, then so be it. Here the pink color on Morto means that he's an ace lover, which means that he has hard time to fold aces. So he overcalls with pair aces and so on. Here we hit top set, and the board is so draw heavy that if he has total air, we are probably not going to get value, and if he has some kind of draw, he's going to call us. And after he calls, we can shove pretty much any turn. And he folds, so he probably didn't have any this wrong. If the board is more dry, then we can check call and maybe check raise the turn, but we don't have any information. He's a shorty, so he's probably a recreational player. And if we check call, pretty much anything from ace to 8 and clubs completes draw. And here he 3-bets. And we have no information on him. So I'm actually going to fold. I don't like to call with kings, so the options are, he's a shorty. We really don't have the implied odds to set mine here. So if the board is 5-5-3 and he c-bets and I call, then if I don't believe he has aces, then I should really just 4-bet and get it in. But we had only one hand of him on the HUD, so we don't know anything about him. Now we know that he is out of 3 hands. He has opened all of his hands and 3-bet the one chance he had. So even if I had this information on him on this king's hand, I would probably just 4-bet and get it in. Yes, it seems that he is pretty aggressive. How many tables this guy is playing? Oh, we can't see, but he's on every table. Boring. Forgot to say that when you're commenting about the hands, and just use the chat, give some discussion. If you want to comment about the hands, just say the table number first. 1, 2 on the top, 3, 4 on the bottom, and what was my hand. Then if you say that on table 3 you had pocket jacks, why did you fold? Then I open the replayer and I can find the hand, because we have around 2-minute delay for security reasons. So once I see your text, then I have no idea what you are talking about. Here on demo 3, we 3-bet. And we flop middle pair gutshot and the flush draw. But the board is kind of scary. If I bet and he raises, then it sucks. So I'm going to check back here. I have no information on our opponent, but I think we can check back here. There's a lot of turn cards that improve our hand. And why does he bet? I'm actually going to put it. Because he doesn't have a straight ever with that bet size, and it's such a small bet that if I call, I really don't have much nut outs. I actually don't have any nut outs. So it's really hard for me to value bet the river. Because if he calls and whatever the river is, it's really hard to value bet. Because he might have the better hand. And if he has like ace king XX, I just give him a almost free river. So I like to raise here. If he shoves, then we can get in. He shouldn't have queen jack ever. And even if he does, we have the flush draw and 4 outs to 4 house and even a few split outs. And the Twitch chat is also open. I have it here on my other screen. So if you are watching this from the Twitch, feel free to comment. And if you have some problems with the stream, always use the pop-up or pop-out version on the Twitch. It works a lot better. And here's some kind of mobile player donks after my tree, but I'm just going to fold. No idea what that means. Now here's number 1. Maka is kind of tight. I'm going to call once. We have a middle pair and wrap. So not sure what that donk means. And it's a small bet size. It really looks like a set to me. Why would he bet such small bets if he had a flush? And I'm going to call. Of course, when he's in it, he might have the flush, but the way I'm playing, I'm not sure how he reads my calls. He had a small flush, so I'm going to make a note out of that. So now we have an information on him, the river bet. Now we know that so far when he bets small, he has a small hand. So even as we quote here on the river 80 cents, I think that the read is definitely worth of 80 cents if it's a habit for him. And we actually hit the set on demo 1 with our trip 8s. And on table 3 we flop the top pair and open ender. Table 1 we have the trips, and we actually get some value. When he goes the flop, he often has a bluff catcher. I'm actually going to check here. If he has a bluff catcher, he's not probably going to call 3 streets, or he has some kind of made hand that he will bet, or he's floating me. So I'm going to make a small raise here, just to get some value. And of course he might have king 8, which would suck, but we have the second nut and 2 overcards if he has king 8 here. Also can have pocket 8s, would make sense. So with second nuts, I'm just getting in. And he folds, so he had air. We induced him to do some really strange stuff. On table 2 we are heads up. And the stream opponent completes from the button, so when we are out of position we get 3 flops, and when we are in position we can pretty much decide how much we want to put money in the pot. And here on table 4 we can 3-bet. Well, we are in position to the 3-better, and we have one more caller, so definitely we are calling, and we flop the flush. Now we have 7 tables. Oh, that's not a good one. I'm going to close it. And one option on table 4 is to check back here and hope someone bluffs, but when the pot is 3-way and the 3-better is kind of shortish, then I think it reduces the times that either one of them is going to bluff. Probably it's your connection, Eki, because everything works for me. I assume that as no one else is complaining, the stream is working for the others. If you have any topics in your mind that you would like to discuss about, then feel free. On table 4, kind of opens button calls from the small blind. We can set mine, and we hit the top set, so board is kind of dry. In position I would just call the c-bet, but out of position I'm going to make a small raise. I think the small raise works better against better players because they understand that this flop is really good for bluff raising. Because there's one big or one high, two low cards. It's good for raising. So they call with wide range, but you never know from these recreational EPIB 44 guys what do they think about your raise. On the turn we have the nuts, so I'm going to call and shove the river. Because if I shove here, it's hard for him to call. And I really hope that the spade doesn't come. And river is total blank. Because then my shove looks really bluffy. And if he has like kings, he would probably call me. But we get some value from his bluffs. Definitely on the turn. There we see that even when we flop the set and turn the quads, it's hard to get value when you're out of position. On the outside table we get the money in with the nuts, and we are against same hand with the redraw. So no interesting stories there. The opponent was actually free rolling us with 2 outs on the full house. Yes, Steven, always open the pop-up version. Don't watch the address that Deja gave you there. Open it and then open it in pop-up version. Here, kind of crappy situation because when we call and he calls, the pot is almost $3.50, so we are SPR 1.5. It's really hard to fold the hand post flop, and we have the deep stack in position to us. So one option is to shove, but it's his first 3-bet. Oh, he has 3-bet aces before on some other stakes. I'm going to fold my pocket jacks. We have the ace blocker, but if we had our kings, I would shove. But he has just aces so often, and we are in really bad position post flop. On table 3, I'm going to 3-bet these regular. We have the bottom wrap, but thing is that against his shove range we aren't doing great. And he calls. Now here on the outside table we have the overpair, nut flush draw and the cut shot, so I'm just going to shove the hand. Let's see if he has the set or 2 pairs, and he just calls. No idea what he has. And he has King Jack 10. Yep. Double up there. And here he bets. I really think that he has King Jack often. He might have 9-10 because the board is rainbow, but we are drawing maximum of 13 outs, and some of the outs are not alive, and we might be drawing dead here, so I'm just going to fold my bottom wrap. The thing is that he's not going to shove as a bluff. Because when I raise the flop, smaller bet, not sure what bet do you mean, the flop raise or river bet? On the river, he has less than a pot, so we can't induce any bluffs on the river. I just put it because it doesn't matter what our bet sizing is, he's all in. And on the flop raise, we made almost a min raise, slightly over it, so I don't see any spot where we can bet smaller. Because on the turn, when he bets, the first thing that, if I can find the hand, I'm going to show him because it's actually an important thing. When we go to the turn, small raise, bomb. He bets 190, which means that after I call, the pot is going to be 820 and he has 620, so he has 3/4 of a pot behind him. On the outside table, I'm just shoving versus this regular, because we are out of position and it's a lot easier. If he makes the raise as a bluff on this board, once we call, he's not going to continue. So here, if I shove here, he's going to fold pretty much everything. Because when we check raise the flop, check shove the turn, our range is definitely we have the jack in our hand. Because he cannot have a jack. He can only have pocket fives or deuces, and he might even fold those. Or he should probably shove them on the flop if he wants. So we call, and now we can shove the river. Let's say if we are 200 bps deep, then I think to get, at least to give ourselves a chance to stack him off, I would make us raise here. Because then we are so deep that we can even raise him as a bluff. But once we see that he has less than a pot size bet on the river, there's no reason to shove here. Here's a green player. This one is also a green. Let's wait a few more hands. Bababui agrees. Now, please, I try to explain, but on what? Where would you bet smaller? On the flop or on the river? Because I can't really join your conversation as I have no idea what bet you are referring to. There's probably a good table. I'm going to change some of the worst ones. Table 1. There's one good. Oops. Yeah, he is a good customer too. No, we just wait. On the river, the bot is 8.2 and he has 6.2 behind him. So the thing is that if he has air, and if we bet like $2, 1/4 of a pot, then after his raise, if he shoves, we need to call $4 into a pot of 20, which means that we are never going to fold anything in our hands. So when he has only 3/4 of a pot behind him, he's barreling. We have just an open ender for half a pot. Quite close. And draw. I think we can bluff some rivers. Like if he checks here, of course this is so obvious bluff, but if he's a bad player, he doesn't think about what we represent. He just thinks, oh, the flush completes, my hand is probably not good, and he folds. Yeah, on the river, you cannot bet smaller because the stack size are so small. If he had more in his stack, then I think we should bet smaller, because he doesn't really have a lot of hands that can call us. But I'm not sure if you noticed that he had only $6 behind him and the pot is already $8. I'm going to close this one. This chili here has fold 3 out of 4. Continuation bet, so although the board is not good for me, I decide to c-bet it. And we actually make the straight, and he doesn't bet, so I don't think he has the flush often. And he has a set that he, wow, slow played. Here's a green player. Here's a green. Now this table 2 is really nice. Baba Boy agrees to disagree. How much would you bet on the river then? And why? There were two opponent min bets. We make a call down and win. If he has aces and he calls the check raise on the flop, and he decides to bet aces on the turn, on the river when he has only 3/4 of a pot behind, he's not going to fold his aces. And as I said, if you bet smaller, he's not going to shove anything over us. Like, when he calls our check raise, he has something. He's never going to call a check raise with air. And when he bets a turn, yes, he might have some draws, but on the river, his stack is not big enough to make any moves. The pot is $8. If we bet $2 and he shoves over it, we have to pay $4 in the pot of 20. So it's such a bad spot for him to make any bluffs. So he's never going to raise his missed draws as a bluff on the river, no matter how small we bet. That's the problem. If he wants to bluff us, he's going to bluff us on that turn. Oh, he did bet, but he would definitely bet bigger probably. And the problem is that still the most part of his range that we can get value from is pocket pairs or some weirdly played smaller full houses. And I think in his range he has more kings, queens than some missed draws that he's going to turn into a bluff, and we get better value by betting bigger. And table 2 we flop the nut flush draw. On the turn we make the nuts. And here some small stack raises us on the flop. As we have nothing, I'm not going to get my money in with just a weak top pair. Table 2 we flop the cut shot and overpair. I'm going to bet my hand because they are probably not going to raise me with wide range. Both are quite passive ones, so let's just value bet the turn when we have the top pair. And on the river I'm going to check back. Not much we can get value from anymore. And he has open ender. Then we can set mine against shorties, but it's only 1 BB. And we don't hit the set. Then before I thought about checking back, but then again I think that the opponent is really honest. And on the turn we pick up the cut shot and the flush draw and overpair and all kind of stuff. So I'm checking back and make the flush. Now we have a nice bluff catcher. Of course the board pairs, which kind of sucks, but I'm going to get a thin value bet. Number 3, I'm not going to steal limped pot and turn open so many draws that I'm just going to check it. There's probably not much folding equity. I'm going to bet here, and I actually think that if this Bergman folds, the Satchmo is going to raise me quite often. Oh, but now he calls, so my plan. If he had raised me, I would call, and then when he checks the turn, I would bet. So just floating him on the flop. He has so many bluffs, but now when he calls, I give up. He has definitely something on this board, and the 4 completes all the straight draws. So now he probably bets and I fold. End of hand. And the outside table, we open 1 call, and this aggressive guy here, I'm going to mark him as yellow one. He 3-bets. So we call and kind of nasty spot. I would definitely stack off versus him. But now when he checks, it's good for me. So I'm not worried about him. We have SPR1 with him, but I'm worried about this deeper stack here. And we actually make a 4. Run around a 4 house on table 3. That's nice. And he shoves. Against his range, I would definitely stack off. When he pots, I'm just going to fold. We might be drawing almost dead already. And here he 3-bets. I'm actually going to call and shove any safe turns. Yes, he has straights. If he has a straight, then it kind of sucks. But he has a lot of 2 pairs, combo draws, all kinds of hands. And he should barrel now when the turn is totally blank. And he doesn't, and river is the worst possible card. That sucks. Of course it's bad for him too, but we actually win the pot. Here I hope if I remember right, he limps from the button. No mean open, I call. I flop the wrap and bottom pair 2 backdoor flush draws. So I donk, he calls on the turn, I bet he calls on the river, I bet he calls, and he makes a call down with ace king. Oh my god. We had like million outs on the turn. And once again, we wait. No one has requested any topics. I'm going to find the tables. Oh, here's a green one. Wow, 36% from under the gun. Attempts to call, but ace jack 7-8, it has so many gaps that why would I 4-bet when I'm never ahead of his range? That's the problem. Whatever his hand is, when I'm a rundown, I don't want to shove because whatever his hand is, I'm not ahead of him. So where I don't make any profit. If I make a 50-50 flip with him, no one wins money. Position and stacks as well. It's SPR1 with the acro and SPR2 with the guy behind. So I don't think the stacks sucks. And the position, yeah, it kind of sucks because if the acro c-bets, which he should be doing often, then we have to make our decision before the guy behind us. But if we hit something, then we can just get it in. And it was this table, the opener is shorty, so if I 4-bet, we go all in. And if you put that King Queen Jack 9 on any equity calculator against like top 40% range, we are never a huge favorite, so we don't push our equity edge pre-flop. If I had aces, kings, queens, it would be totally different because then we are ahead of his range. I'm here, I'm just going to crawl because it's a rainbow hand and the opener is shorty from crease. But no one bet the flop, so I'm actually going to bet my kings for value here. King Queen Jack 9. Well, we might be ahead with our king high, but we are never a big favorite in equities. Like if he has any ace high hand, he has actually dominated us. So we are never ahead of his equity, but he's often ahead of our equity. And that's not a good spot to put money in. like now I close the table, but his 3-bet range was like, or 3-bet percentage was like 25 or so. So I'm just opening equity calculator if I can. Just a second. And we had King, Queen, Jack 9 with 1 suit. If his range is 25, then we are 45-55 underdog pre-flop. So even with really wide stack of range, like 25%, we are never favorite. Let's assume that he shoves 100%. He shoves every hand. Then we are 55-44% favorite. But I don't think he's ever going to shove 100% of his hands. Against 50% range, we are flipping 50-50. So it's really hard to give him a range that we are crushing, so that we should shove pre-flop instead of just calling and see if we hit the flop. And table 4, we missed the board kind of, but C-bet always gives us option to win the pot, and if he calls, there's so many turns that improve our hand. And ace improves our hand. So especially in PLO 10, PLO 5, I think that one should not check back that much. As you go higher up in stakes, your opponents become better and better. You face more and more regulars, which means that you have to have more tools than just an ABC game. But in PLO 10, the way you make money out of your opponents is to just keep it simple. And table 4, I 3-bet an ace high board. I'm going to see, but once he calls, now it kind of sucks because he has something and we have nothing, and he is not going to fold his something. And he had gut shot and flush draw on the flop. On table 2, we make the top set, and it's 3-way. I'm just going to get it in. He's an ace lover. He's not going to fold aces here. Now we get the money in with the nuts, and we win the pot once, and we win the pot twice. And he had open ender with the flush draw. So that was nice. Table 4, I'm opening for a full pot because we have a calling station here on big blind. Here we have the min better once again, definitely not folding. And of course, if someone raises, then we are just going to fold. Turn, we make the nuts, which is nice. And let's see. Oh, he bets bigger, so I'm going to raise him. Kind of small. There are no draw possibilities, so of course queen 10 is something, but I want him to call with 2 pair type of hands. If he has a set, he's not going to fold no matter how much we bet, but I want to maximize the value against 2 pairs, which he has a lot, or some kind of ace-jack type of hands. On table 1, we get 3 calls. When it's 8-8-9, I don't think c-bet is probably profitable because people will have so many draws here. I'm going to call that bet once, because it's such a bluffy bet and he's sort of active guy. And of course, if he has the 8, then he gets the value from us, but he can have a lot of bluffs here. And now he had 8-9. But once the flop goes check, 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 and he is 56-25, he can easily be bluffing. And as his bet sizes were so small, I don't mind calling him twice. Here with 2 pairs, I'm just putting it against this calling station, just maximizing the value. Table 3, I'm going to bluff. I was trying to check raise the flop, but once he doesn't c-bet, he probably doesn't have a flush, and he shouldn't have sets 2 pairs that often. So definitely bet the turn. We have a lot of folding equity, and he just folds. Just check that. Do we have any questions on Twitch chat? No, we don't. This Pinetzai guy is always playing. I have no idea Does he play every day or just Wednesdays and Fridays? I don't know, but it's just strange that. Kind of amazes me, how can one play PLO10 every day for many years? Always wonders me. He was playing when we started, then he at 10 p.m. finish time he went to a break, so he had a half an hour break, so he's probably some heavy grinder and fun, but he's on every table. Some kind of heavy grinder that has half an hour breaks, then opens 20 tables and grinds for 1 or 2 hours and so on. And if he making any money on the sample size we have him, no. 2.5 buy-ins under I mean minus $25, minus 91 BB, but this is not EV, this is actual profit, this is this all in adjusted, but he's around minus 30 BBs per 100 hand. So yeah, that's probably one reason why he's not playing PLO 25 or higher. But then if you're multi-taping PLO 10 for many hours a day and you are break even, why aren't you learning? I mean, invest few dollars to coachings or buy some books that tell you how to practice poker. Because if you break even in PLO, then you probably have few big leagues that if you can just get rid of 1 or 2 big leagues, it might be the difference between break even and small profit. So like if he's playing 6 hours a day, play 4 hours and use 2 hours to study and practice, get better. Find out why you are not making money on PLO then. Shalvak is such a tight one. I'm going to bet half a pot here. Should have a lot of folding and he insta-fold. It's like whatever his hand is, he made a mistake there. So instead of giving up the pot for me, if he makes half a pot c-bet, he's going to win the pot quite often. So instead of making few BBs profit, he made few BBs losses here. And if he makes the same mistake on every paired board, that's probably around 5 BBs per 100 hand difference, or even more. Which means that from the break-even player or slightly losing player, he can go to winners by just c-betting those paired boards. It's so simple. On table 3, for half a BB, we can see the flop. We have the cut shot. Yay! What did he have? Oh, queen 6. Or Salak is a neat pre for oops, sorry. Need pre-flop. Do we know anything else about our opponents? Not much. He's probably a green one. The reason I limped in table 1 is that I don't want to raise. We have 2 calling stations and this limper is never going to fold. So I don't want to create a big 4-way pot with just pocket tens, but on the button I think we can call and just set mine. See what happens. And we make the nuts. Hooray! Here this Tiroler, whatever his name is, has min bet previously and now he pots. Of course he's only 1.9 BBs, but still he probably has at least an ace. So I'm going to get away. Number 1, I just bought it because the board is so draw heavy and we have these calling stations and all kinds of people and no one calls me. It's a shame. Wasted my nuts. Let's see if we have a situation on outside table. No, we don't. Moving back. Nothing to see. On table 2, we flopped the straight, but it's the third nut straight, and oh my god, this darkened sky donks for a pot. I'm going to call once. And if he keeps betting big on the turn, I'm just going to fold because his range is really strong. The only part of his range I can beat are some kind of 2-pair and flush, 2-pair and open-ender or sets. And now some of the open-enders got there. Yeah, I think he has definitely a higher straight. Here on table 2, wow, he has been really aggressive. Turn river. I'm going to check back. Of course, if he has the flush draw, we just give him a free card. And now if he bets, I can happily call. And he had just a flush draw and open ender. He had a lot of equity versus us. People are putting money in to the pot with weak hands. Table 3 opponent hasn't played any of his 5 hands, so I'm probably going to open any 4. And now he decides to call. And he raises. You can have it. Table 1, I'm going to make a half pot c-bet. Not sure if he folds, but the thing is that even if he calls with really wide range, like almost with any pocket pair, our c-bet is still profitable. And we almost make a straight, but not quite. And I think when he calls, he has a jack or overpair almost always. Because there are no draw possibilities on the flop, so he needs to have some kind of hand to call me. Of course, he hasn't folded to any of the c-bets so far, but sample size is only 4. Then we open marginal hand and we flop the cut shot. And for some reason we don't make it on the turn. Damn, I can't say we turned the nuts. We almost river the nuts, but not quite. Table 4, we missed the board, but ace high, good to see bet. Huge folding equity. Once he calls, it kind of sucks. Because he has 2 kind of hands, he has some kind of throwing hands, we might have folding equity if we bet turn and river, but he has a lot of ace high hands that are not going to go anywhere. And here on table 4, nah. We beat his flush draws, and if he has ace, he's not going to fold it. Thing is that when he bets, it's kind of strange. He might have ace 10 that he plays this way, but he should have a lot of missed draws in his range too. Oh, he had ace 9. Oh my god, like he calls the flop with pretty much just a bad bluff catch. The problem is that his hand is not going to improve, so most of my bluffs have a lot of equity versus him. But on the turn, when I check, he has the nuts. He hits the set. And for some reason, he doesn't bet it. He gives me a free river card. And this is one of the blank ones. There's going to be so many river cards that kill his hand that I'm just going to give him a green for that line. That was one of the strangest ways of playing ace 9-9 ever. Trip queens. Oh, table 2, all the fishes have gone, so I'm going to close this one. This guy limps a lot, plays hands, but doesn't fold post flop quite that much. So I'm going to open with pretty much my value hands that I can then see bet if I hit something. Like with these kind of medium strength hands, I'm going to just limp behind him and wait until I hit the board. Because I don't have a lot of folding equity post flop versus him. He hasn't folded to any of the C bets. What happened here? Oh, on the flop it goes set versus huge draw. Actually, this huge draw had best equity there, which is kind of strange. But it's PLO. Kings had 44% on the flop and the nuts had 50. Oh yeah, 50 and more and but draw has 44 three-way all in. That's pretty nice. Table 3 we have kings and we flop 2 pairs. I'm just going to raise here because we are blocking jacks, sixes. We have a lot of folding equity, and the problem is that our hand is not going to improve that often. We have 6 outs to improve and some backdoor flushes. But if we just check call, it means that like 85% of the turns doesn't improve our hand. So it's going to be quite hard to play, and if he get it in, he might have jack 9-10 and we are sort of flipping, or 2 pairs we have decent equity, but we have a lot of folding equity here. Oh yeah, I have to put a new table to here. And here's a hand where we double barreled. We actually have nothing. He makes a 3-bet. He's a regular and he's going to 3-bet with decent kind of range. From out of position he has a lot of ace-high hands. He has 3-bet before with aces, ace, jack, 10, 8. Of course, we have 1 ace in our hand, which means that he doesn't have much aces. But his overall 3-bet is 6%. Of course, out of percent is 13. 3 out of 23. So 3 hands out of position. 1 is aces, 1 is ace, jack, 10, 8. So I think we can assume that he has a lot of ace-high hands, Broadway hands. Might have pocket aces. And I'm just going to call because in position we can define his range a lot better than he can define our range. And of course here sort of hits his range. Of course if it was some kind of king jack, then it would be worse. He checks, not sure if he wants to check raise. On the turn he checks. And I'm going to stab for half a pot. Now, once he calls, he can have all kinds of hands. But the one hand that I don't think he has full house. Because when the flop goes check, I think he would bet if he had a full house on the turn and not risk that turn goes check check. Or at least check raise. I don't think he's going to check call with jack 10 or 10-8 or any of those. So he might have a straight, he might have over, he might have draw in hand. But when we barrel the turn, actually on the outside table we have the trips versus really aggressive guy. I'm not going to fold ace deuce, and he's shorty, so just get it in. If he has sixes, then be it. If he has deuce six, then we have few outs, and he has sixes, so we were throwing almost dead. Oh, we made the quads. I love my life. Oh dear. Here we can shove aces. Oh, so much going on. I'm going to go through these hands in a while. I'm going to fold kings here because we are 150 BPs deep, so it's really awkward if he shoves. And here he has what he has. King, king, then 5. He had a flush draw, so yeah, we are 57. Well, we cannot complain about running bad because we made quads, we hit one outer. But here he definitely has something, and the thing is that when we check the flop we don't have straight. When we bet the turn we might have overpair. Or we might have jack 10. And when we bet the turn and we barrel the river. Now imagine you are this one and you have queen 9. You check the flop on the turn, you can't fold on the river, someone bets for second time. I'm not sure if he should fold it or not, but it's really hard to call. Because we are representing full house. Here we have aces. Again. And here we get 3-bet, 4-bet. He has aces probably. So now we see if we hit something to suck out, and we have decent equity versus aces, so we hit it in here. And he has 6-3 jack. Now we have to hit something. Oh, we don't hit. Oh, he had set of jacks. 6. So there goes the money we won from the one outer. We are SPR 1 and we have top pair and cut shot, so I'm just going to get it in. And they both fold, which is nice. If we check, then most of the time on the turn we need to decide if we want to bluff catch or not. How much we had here? Oh, it was the other table, sorry. With ace, we can't see the hand where we went all in. Oh, we were drawing almost dead on the main pot because one of the fishes had pocket jacks. Was it this one? What table was it? Damn. I lost the table where we went all in on the flop. Well, doesn't matter. Here table 1, the guy draws us on the flop, so I'm just going to give up. Yeah, and he had an ace. Number 4, I'm going to just raise. I block pretty much a lot of the hands he can call me with. And with top and bottom 2 pairs and weak flush draw, we don't really want to go to showdown. On the outside table we flop the set in a limp spot. I'm just betting pot. Pretty much if anyone has ace they are going to call me. This guy who we made 1 order against might shove any ace queen type of hand. And we can call. We pick up the flush draw on the turn, so I definitely pot it. We are pretty much always ahead of him. He shouldn't have aces when he limps from the button and just calls the flop, but yeah, who knows. We are so deep that if he raises it would really suck. And I'm going to bet the river, because if he has ace, he's going to pay us. And he did. Working perfectly. Yes, and he had ace king. So yes. If he raises us on the river, then I would definitely fold. Because he shouldn't raise trips. And here, some kind of bench. We block the straight. But we need over 50% equity to stack off, and we really don't have it. I'm just going to fold. If he was any shorter, then I would probably just get it in and flip with him, but clock is 11, so we are probably going to end the session in few minutes. Has been a rough week for me. Someone asked me about summer coachings. Do we continue PLA in some summer? Honestly, at the moment, I don't know. Our bankroll is not in really good shape at the moment, but probably today, at least I assume, we have made profit, but you never know. We might have made profit. Let's put it this way. Table 1, white try is flop and more into donks. I have no information on his donk in range, so I'm just going to fold. If I was playing PLO 10 every day here, I would definitely go to my database and find out what kind of hands he donks with. So I can see if it's always for value or does he attack certain boards. And as you can see, there's a lot of regulars by net side probably every time on the table. So if we get any information from him that we can use to exploit him, it would be super profitable. And shortish raises us. I'm just going to bet it in with aces. And he has the top set. And he makes the quads. Yeah, happens. So about the summer, I don't know. We are definitely going to have some coachings, but not sure if we're going to have one every week or are we going to do bi-weekly. Have to see about that. And remember that we have the Yellow Summer Camp starting in June. You have until this week, until 24th, yes, 24th of May to send your application. You can find more information on the forums. There are still some spots open. Here on that table, Einstein opens really aggressive player, and we flop bottom set with overpair. If he bets, I'm probably going to raise it and get it in. Because he's so aggressive one, he's definitely going to stack off with wider range. And here we are against combo draw. And our hand didn't hold up. 40% on the flop against combo draw, that's it. 40% with top set. So if we continue in this way, the session is not profitable. Here we have the nuts on the river. I'm going to bet white biggish because he has a bluff catcher or he's just going to fold. And we get value from him, nice. What he had. Then jack. Wow. Here's the one who made that sick play with ace 9-9. Oh, he's not a bad player. He's just too tight that he's scared of value betting until he knows. Some of these needs, the habit for them is that they are afraid of everything. So they are actually on the turn, he should know that he has the best hand, but he's scared to bet it because he thinks that someone might suck out on him. And he's playing 12 tables. Wow. Good for you. I'm going to bluff the river. Make him fold over pairs. If he's so scared of everything, he's going to fold over pair here. So we kind of turn our top pair into a bluff. And table 4, we have the open-ender, but I'm calling with pocket queens anyway, because he's sort of aggressive one. Can definitely bluff the turn. Oh, he had 3 pairs on the turn. But we had 30% against that. And here finish one, donks. I'm going to actually call. And if he checks the turn, I'm going to bet. But if he barrels the turn, then I give credit for him. But this dual block also, it kind of ruins my plans. Plan failed. Any idea what my 3-bet percentage was today? Not much. I have 3-bet some double paired hands few times, but not much. I can see it on my pocket tracker in just a second. I don't think it much. I'm going to call 1 street here. That's an interesting turn. It doesn't really change the board because 7-9 is still the nuts, what was on the flop. But it opens a lot of stuff. Can we bet for value? Not sure. Let's make it safe and check it. And on the river, if they both check, I'm going to bet for value with value from smaller sets and some bluffs. And now he bets. It just doesn't make sense with 7-9. Queen 9, yeah, it makes sense, but it's a small bet sizing. I just can't fold it. And he had 7 on. Why would he check the turn and give 3 cards for everything? This is the part that I really hate, that I think that the opponent, if he's 34-11, not the greatest one, but not the worst one. And then I think that if he had 7-9, why would he check the turn when it doesn't change the board? And on the river he bets half a pot. It looks so much like a bluff, and then he has the 7-9, and it just doesn't make sense. And he won my money because he wasn't good enough to bet his 7-9. So funny. Let's close the session. We have one hand coming up here. Double pair, double suited. Great hand. Let's see if we can make something out of it. And we flopped bottom set. I think that against wow. He donks for half a full pot. I have to call. On the flop he represents some kind of made hand. On the turn he represents straight. I'm just going to call down. And he has runner, full house. Oh man. That's hard. So yeah, that's why it makes sense. We were 6% favorite on the flop, 63 on the turn. And he makes the bigger full house, but if we had shoved the flop, he's not going to fold, so it doesn't matter what we do. But kind of sucks. So I'm not so sure about our profit anymore. In the last 10 minutes we have lost quite a few pots. The reason why I don't shove the flop is because it was his first donk. With these stats, if he had donk more, then we probably should just shove because he has one of those handy in his range. But when it's his first in a multi-way pot, then not sure what he has. And on the turn, if he pots the turn, I would just fold. But when he bets that half a pot, it doesn't really look like he has a straight. Of course, we might just shove the turn then, if we don't think he has a straight. couple of more hands. I'm going to open the poker tracker. That sucks. 3% was 3 on this session. Not much. We didn't 3-bet a lot of hands. So this one is going down before the last 2 hands. $4. Woo! We were up 30 here. Of course, running quite away, but we were here up $15 before the last 2 hands. But we lost some money, so kind of sucks, but it happens. So the thing is that we don't have much in our bankroll, because we have had some rough sessions on coachings, and to be honest, I don't really want to play PLO5 on these PLO innings, because then the average EV on PLO5 is so low that I'm probably going to do something else on Wednesday or Friday evenings. So let's see what the situation is after June, after May, in June. But if the bankroll is like $70 or over, then we are probably not going to have PLO coachings. Then we'll see what we are going to do with the money. Do we do something special, or then we just have to wait until we have a bigger bankroll, either by winning or by someone buying shares. But we can definitely we will have coaching on next week, and let's see what the situation is on the next week. What should we do on the June? One option, if no one buys more shares, then we can host some kind of tournament evening with that bankroll or something even more funnier. So it seems, yes, this is going to close. So here is the actual results from today. I have to be quite happy, because pretty much, well, yeah, in the start we lost a few hands, but after that we never went below 0, so then everything is fine. And this last hand is sort of set up kind of way. Of course, when we play pocket sixes we can't complain setups, but opponent hit his 40% draw on the turn and board paired when he got max value from us. 3.98. So it's $2 for you and $2 for me. It's nice. But anyway, all of you who wants to see more PLO on Friday, we have the Finnish PLO in. See you then. And if someone is there watching this and wondering about attending PLO summer camp, remember to apply before Sunday. And if you're watching this on YouTube or something and it's before 24th of May, you can still apply. And even if you're watching this later, I will host more camps on July if there's enough applicants. So just come to our forum on pokerymania.com and find out more information. That's all I have to offer today, so thank you for joining and have a good and safe night. Bye bye.